Let's go. Turn up the volume. And now, from Brooklyn, New York, this is the Basement Surge with John and Frank.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Basement Surge. Frank, how you doing?
How you doing, handsome? I'm
Good.
Doing all right.
Good. Due to what the hell is going on in this world, Frank and I actually have to separate for a little while. We had a little bit of a scare here in my building for that disease that shall not be named. And so just to be safe, Frank is staying home and recording, and everybody here is fine. You know, we're good. My family is good.
Yeah, but man, you're ground zero. You got the outbreak monkey in your fucking building.
I know.
That's it.
Last
time I came to your house, I rang the bell. I heard
Yeah. So my building is kind of on the gross side. But nevertheless, we have a special guest this week. That's right. Special guest. Joining us from all the way around the world. It is Dereck from the Derek Duvall Show. How you doing, Dereck?
Oh, I'm good. I've got to get this off my chest because I've watched a lot of these live ones over the last couple of months. I don't know if either one of you two are like some of the best graphic designers in the world, or you guys gave one hell of a hand job to the graphic designer who created the intro for your show.
Oh, thank you.
I did, Derek. I jerked him off so fucking hard for him to do that. You understand? I got calluses. I got so tired I had to alternate. I mean, left hand is just a stranger in the shower sometimes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. But
you ever given the Dutch rudder?
The Dutch
That's
rudder?
it, man. The Dutch rudder, man. You know what the Dutch rudder is?
No, I never heard of it.
Zach and Miri Make a Porno. In Zach and Miri Make a Porno, the Dutch rudder is you put your hand on your dick and I just move your arm for you. So it's not gay. You're jerking yourself off. I'm just moving your arm for you.
Oh, Jesus.
Exact word of the text.
My man just I need to seriously kidnap him for like a week and just movie binge.
I told you, I'm bad with movies, you know. That's why this isn't a movie podcast.
Do you want to take it a step further? You know, so my best mate, he collects movie memorabilia. He actually has Jason Mewes socks from that scene. He has them mounted on a frame in his wall in his theater room. Dude,
I'm seriously. Wow. If I ever met that guy, I would give him such a hug.
Oh yeah,
Jason Mewes is hysterical.
I've met Jason over the years a couple of times. He's a solid dude. I met him pre-sober, and I've met him a couple of times post-sober. He's a really, really, really solid dude.
Oh,
I'm never sober.
But I'm so happy that you came on the show. You've been very patient with us because you know, we've been going back and forth for a little while, and
I have to apologize. I was running a little late. I was helping my mother because she just recently went to doctor. She has a rotator cuff damage in her shoulder and her main hand, her dominant arm. So I had to help her carry some laundry and stuff because
so she can't slap you anymore, right?
No, she can still slap me. Yeah, I'm telling you, she learned that slap from Ike because sometimes she fucking hits me and I'm like, ah! People say, oh, you're 36 years old, Frank. You're still afraid of your mother? It's a healthy fucking fear.
Yeah.
Plus, when your mother is 5'9" and looks you right in the eyes, yeah,
yeah.
I don't have one of those short little mommies you could push around. No, mine's a fucking Amazon.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you look like bloody Rob McElhenney from freaking It's Always Sunny. I keep forgetting to tell you that every time I see you.
I'll take that as a compliment because It's Always Sunny is a hysterical show. I mean, I love Danny DeVito, so it just I watched that show for him.
I've never watched it.
But you're the worst. You were the absolute worst. Just
you know what? It's funny. It's like whenever
he lives in a basement. What do you expect?
I tell you what, anytime we bring up any kind of pop culture reference, you sit down because you're not allowed to be at the big boys table, okay?
Okay. I'm sorry.
Over there, be quiet, and we'll have a chat. All right. So
okay. Just you know what, John, close your own window for one.
I'll just take myself out of the street. Yeah.
But I had to send a compliment Derek's way and say that I really love in the beginning of his show with the disclaimer. That shit had me laughing.
Yes.
That shit had me laughing when I was like, this episode may contain the words fuck, shit, ass, motherfucker. You know, I was like, and then I hear your accent and I'm like, The bloody man never said wanker.
They actually do say the C word, but in a British way. I love that one. That's my favorite.
Slag.
Yeah.
Slag was always my favorite.
So you want to know who did that?
Who did
No.
Okay,
I do want to know.
Okay, so like I said, I've been very fortunate. I know a lot of very interesting and very, very, very cool people. Anyway, the gentleman who did that, his name is Jeff Brown. Anyway, he is a former Jeopardy contestant.
Wow.
And he's a stand-up comedian here in Oklahoma. And he tours around the Midwest and all that. And he's very, very well known. He's like one step down from finally getting like his big break in terms of like a Netflix special.
Awesome.
Or,
Oh,
beautiful. He opens for like, oh God, Amy Schumer and stuff like that. He's opened for them before.
Wow.
I don't find her that funny.
No, but anyway, I'm just saying, like we're talking like big name acts,
Yeah.
And he's just that one step from finally making it, hopping that fence, and he's finally there,
Mm.
But anyway, I asked him. He came on my show a month or two ago because Alex Trebek died,
Yeah.
and I said, hey, look, and I knew another guy too. His name was Tim. He too had been on Jeopardy. I said, come on the show, tell us about Alex and how you got on the show, and we'll make an episode of it. It'll be fun. So he comes on. I laughed harder than I fucking laughed in a long time because he's a funny ass dude. Anyway, a couple of weeks later, I said, I need to update my show because what used to be family friendly content, we never said fuck, we never said shit. It was all bleeped out.
Yeah.
I said, it doesn't sound natural coming from me.
Not me.
Because being an old sailor, I say words that even make my mother cringe. And like I invented swear words at one point, in the Navy. That's what you do. So anyway, I asked him, I said, look, I said, Jeff, I said, do me a favor. I said, I need an intro for my show, like a disclaimer. And I said, I want you to just go nuts, say whatever you want, and I'll take the best of it and make it up. He sent me a nearly 1.5 minute clip of him just going to town like this. And I did edit it out because obviously I need it for time. You don't want to listen to a 2.5 minute intro of
Right.
content warnings. And one of them was like, he goes, that thing where you're coming in for a landing on an aircraft carrier, and she does this and he touches that, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, dude, this is brilliant,
Fucking funny.
But the thing about it is like I said, when you bring it in, you were starting to bring in some very high profile guests now and stuff like that. I gotta keep it somewhat restrained because do you really want them having their voices lent to that intro?
Right.
So I kept it a little more toned down, but yeah, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I've done that.
I
for the show, too.
kind of do the same thing with Frank, where if somebody's going to be on the show, I tell Frank, I'm like, you got to calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
No, because you know what, Derek, he the way he broached this podcast to me was that there's no filter. I said, no filter,
Right.
I'm in.
I interviewed this young up and coming musician yesterday, and she must have, I'm not gonna lie, probably in her late teens. And I put a post-it note on top of my computer that said, "No fucks," like that.
Right.
So every time I'm giving introducing a question or segueing, I just sitting there and I'm thinking of every word that I have to say, and I did not say any bad words in the entire episode. After it's over, I'm sitting there and I take a long deep breath. I'm like, that was fucking brilliant. I just had to get it out. So.
Wasn't it tiring though? Like,
No, it was
Oh,
a 20. It was like a 22-minute episode interview. It actually
I
went
would have been
pretty well.
exhausted. As soon as I was done, I would be like, I had a great time. Thank you very much. Talk to you later. Blah, blah. As soon as I would have turned it off, I'd be like, fuck, shit, motherfucker. I would have went crazy. I had to let it. You know what I mean? I got to let it out, man.
So
I gotta let
Derek,
it out.
Derek, talk to us a little bit on how you came about the idea for the Derek Duvall Show.
Which I love the name, by the way.
Oh,
Yes.
cheers. All right, so the Derek Duvall Show. So this goes back at least 20 years nearly. When I was in the Navy, my definition of safe sex is never telling a girl where you live.
Yes.
So, but no, being in the military, I couldn't use my real name because, for obvious reasons, what I did.
Yeah.
So I created the name. Well, sorry, I took the name from an old 80s British TV show. And it's actually that one I brought up earlier, the one about the wheeling deal and the car thing.
All right.
Yeah, the Cockney guy.
His real name is Derek Trotter. And at one point he goes on a it's right, you gotta remember this is like early 80s where the computer dating, like we're talking like on like a very early
I was
IBM,
born in 83. I mean,
anyway, he goes to a computer dating firm And
Right.
so they're like, we insist on complete honesty and what have you. And she goes, is there an L at the end of your name? He goes, no, it's Duvall, Derek Duvall. And that name has stuck with me for years. Anyway, fast forward to the Navy, when I want to date and what have you, they're like, what's your name? It's Derek Duvall. And they're like, oh, that's nice, what have you. And so I kept it. Anyway, after, about 8 months ago, I went through a rather difficult period. And I decided to do my own thing, where I have complete, total creative control, and
Good for you.
I can, I'm not under any deadlines or anything. I can work at my own pace. Being that what I do for a living is very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what, fuck it. I said Derek Duvall, and Derek Duvall has become my,
That's awesome, man.
basically it's my way of basically being me, but I don't have to worry about any ramifications or any consequences in my personal and professional life.
I'm just going to call you Double D.
Yeah, that's actually how I sign my emails sometimes. Double D.
Nice.
Double D.
And Derek Duvall. And people ask me all the time, like, when you're done with Derek Duvall, like, what do you want to do? I say, well, Derek Duvall can be kind of immortal. Like, I've talked to a couple of people, like, if I die or if I decide to quit one day, you can be Derek Duvall.
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, really?
Oh
Like,
shit! Is this like the Dread Pirate Roberts?
Yeah, that or James Bond, exactly. Like Dread Pirate Roberts, James Bond. Like there could be many Derek Duvalls after I'm gone with it. The show can continue on in many, many forms. It's like the Tonight Show will just be a different host.
Right.
So that's the beauty of creating a nomiker that has no face.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't show my face. No one outside of a few close members of my family know who I do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just my way of basically, being me. I can say what I want, do what I want. My humor, I mean, I'm not throwing around, white power or or any of that shit.
Right.
But it's my way. I can make the jokes I want. I can do what I want, and there's no ramifications. There's no consequences to my personal and private life.
Well, I think the show is really awesome because I've listened to basically all of them. And I love your format. I actually listened to the Jeopardy one, and that one was kind of my favorite because the whole thing with Alex. And I loved hearing all the behind the scenes on what the contestants went through and all that. I love that you did that. Like the show has a feel like a format of like a late night talk show. And I love that. Like
that was what I was going for.
Yeah, you even like hear the audience applauding and clapping and all that. So I thought it's a really clever format and that you got going.
I could be honest and say I've listened to about 3 episodes and I enjoyed it. And I know how you feel, Derek. Like I can honestly say I don't know what you do, and I don't want to know now. But like me, I work law enforcement, and it's just like after the day, the stress, and sometimes being on the edge all day. This is such a great outlet for me. I'm so happy. I told John I'm so happy he talked me into this because I love it. I have so much fun, and I could be me, and and at times I could go manic and go crazy, and if you ever heard my bucket story, and but then there's other times when we bring a guest on, and it's somebody like John will tell me, I'm not filtering you. he goes,
just don't be a dick.
He's like, that's right, don't be a dick.
Well, it's funny. That's one of the reasons
I've been
why
toning myself down so much, from season 1 to season 2 to now season 3. I've, if I go on a tangent, yeah, but it's just like sometimes I try and keep it level.
So it's funny. The old show that I used to be part of, we used, it's 5 people. Some of them are extremely funny. But you'd be recording and you'd be, one says one thing, then you go and you bounce off of that and you make it even funnier and so forth. Sometimes we really ventured into real blue territory. And then, you've got one guy who censors it and edits it, and you're sitting there like, no. This could have really, sent the show into, the stratosphere.
Right.
But then again, you have some guests who come on and say some absolutely off the wall shit, and you're like, dude, I'm so glad we kept that in.
Yeah.
Like I remember we had one guy who came on, and he's a great guy. I introduced him to his wife. He's a super cool dude, and we're asking these questions. And we're saying, what is the one movie going experience that to this day sets you apart from everything else?
Oh,
and he was talking about when he was in high school, he didn't know anything about movies because this is before the internet and all that crap. He took his girl the date to see Secretary,
Oh, with Maggie Gyllenhaal
Yeah.
and James
And it was
Spader.
like
I seen that
the
one.
first date.
Hey,
bet you have.
oh,
You
yeah.
dirty fucker. I bet you've seen it at all.
Uh-huh. Look
Yeah.
at you, you fucking horny bastard. I love you.
Yeah.
I love
But anyway,
you.
he had taken her to see Secretary, and obviously, you know, if the context of the film, you're like, dude, my fucking respect for you just went through the roof, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, he said it was like the most awkward walk to his car after that. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Frank and I had first started this podcast. I think it was like episode 2 or 3, something like that, where he had said something about sleeping with somebody else's wife, or told somebody to go sleep with their wife, and I had taken it out of the episode. I edited it out, and I published the episode, and Frank listened to it, you know, and he's like, "What the fuck," you know, and you know, I didn't realize until after I had released it that, you know, me taking it out kind of screwed up the episode a little bit, you know, and it kind of, I don't know, it took away some of Frank's flair, you know.
I was on a podcast a couple weeks ago, the Chris and Christine show, who are very popular, and me and them are, in fact, very good friends outside of work, outside of the podcasting world. And my wife, they wanted my wife on as a guest, and my wife doesn't do podcasting. I use her for a little bit of voiceover work, and she's actually got some voiceover work contract. People like really her voice, like using her voice for stuff. Anyway, I digress. There was a scene. They brought me on as a special guest, like, you know, to talk with her, and we were talking about movies that I had never seen before I had met my wife, and one of them was Pretty Woman, and I couldn't remember the name Pretty Woman,
love that movie.
and I said, isn't that the one with the whore? And it was cringeworthy, and my wife is a huge feminist, so she's like, God bless, dude, don't say that. It got edited out of the show, which I was like sitting there, and I actually texted Chris privately. I'm like, dude, I cannot believe you cut that out. He's like, yeah, there's no way we're gonna.
And you gotta remember, Derek, if you ever come to New York, it's not whore, right? We say hooah. It's a fucking whore.
Ooh, see, in Britain, it's slag.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which to me sounds worse. I don't know why. It just does. Like, I heard Clive Owen say it one time, and I was just like, I grabbed my pearls. I was like, ooh. Do you remember the George Carlin bit, The History of the Word Fuck? And it's like the different uses of the word fuck. I love the word. I do. It's like fuck me. I got fucked at the used car lot.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Fuck the fucking, if you want to say something, fuck the fucking fucker is my favorite one. My favorite one is why don't you go play hide and go fuck yourself? You know, like you know. But anyway, yeah, it's just this. I'm doing actually. I'm editing an interview right now with a linguist who she wrote a book about the history of swear words. And at one point, we were talking. It's like, at what point did people sit down and say, you know what, fuck is not going to be like a bad word, like it's a cringe word. And I found that to be very interesting. The genesis of words. You know, it's a very interesting stuff.
You seem to be like talking about a whole bunch of different things on your show. Like now you're going to have a linguist on your show. Meanwhile, you know, you interviewed guys who contestants on Jeopardy, and then you did a Sean Connery tribute show.
Yeah.
You know, so I love that you're talking about all different things. I love that.
Do you know that Sean Connery tribute? We threw together in 30 minutes. Sean Connery had died. I had just gotten home from work, and I was tired and I was pissed off. And I was driving home. I got Indian food. As I love Indian food. I had said, and I called I said, Chris, I said, I want to do a tribute to Sean Connery. And then he starts doing that silly, you know, Connery accent, which we can all do. And I said, all right. I said, come on. I said, we'll just throw something out. We'll spitball. We'll riff off each other. And my favorite part of it is the part where we're talking about Christian Slater from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh my God, that movie.
And I got it confused with Christian Leitner, who played basketball for Duke and the Dream Team. And at one point,
I know nothing about sports.
We just didn't realize that we were saying, and then we finally caught ourselves, and it was one of the funniest things we've ever come up with. It was hilarious.
The one thing I love about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is that Alan Rickman seriously checked out of that movie at one point, and he wasn't even acting. He was just being himself. It was so beautiful.
That was Hans.
Do you know what I learned the other day?
Huh?
I did not know this. Alan Rickman's first movie credit is Die Hard.
I was just going to say he was Hans from Die Hard.
Yeah,
wasn't he? Yeah.
That was his first movie role he ever got.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, way to fucking set the bar high, Rickman. I mean, way to go, man.
That's pretty awesome.
Hans Gruber is one of the greatest villains in movie history.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, I remember seeing something about the word fuck. That it was made into an acronym because at a certain point there was an overpopulation, right?
Yeah, I
So
had read this too. I read, yeah.
there was like these little edicts, and they would put it there, and it would say fornicating under commission of the king or something like that, and it was fuck. I was like, oh, what they doing? They fucking.
Yeah, and
well,
then,
the other thing too, I mean, like we discussed, like in Britain, like the word slag. I've heard the word slag and its euphemisms past that. Like a slag is a woman of disrepute. To slag someone off is to talk shit about them. Hey, you're slagging me off. You're talking shit about me. You know, it's different. I've seen it like evolve. It's a beautiful thing. Language can be sometimes.
You kidding me? I could do a whole episode with John about swear words. Okay, swear words, country music, and mac and cheese.
and with that said, let's do a couple questions from the pod decks. What do you think?
Oh,
yeah. All right, so I'm going to be pulling from the Would You Rather deck, Frank's favorite deck. I got a couple of cards here. Let's ask.
It's very rare when we talk about another man's deck.
it ain't much, but it gets the job done.
Let's see here. All right. Would you rather spend a year living at a nudist colony or within the Amish community?
Nudist colony.
Ooh. Definitely the nudist colony.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
But there is a downside to that. I have been to a nudist beach, and it isn't Baywatch babes or
not all the time.
Beautiful men.
Right.
It's old people, and and all these old people have let themselves go because they don't give a fuck. They're gonna die soon.
Right.
So it's definitely has its drawbacks.
Yep.
It has its pros and cons. The one thing about the Amish community is, I mean, I'll learn sewing and crocheting and some good recipes, but they're gonna wake me up so goddamn early, and I can't swear.
Yeah, you also can't use your cell phone or a TV or
no, nothing. I just, you know what? All I know is that, but after 1 year, by the time I get back, somehow, some way, I'll have 5 kids. I gotta do something with my time.
All right, I'm gonna pull another question from the What the Heck deck, the green deck.
Oh, that's John's favorite deck. John loves the green deck.
Would you ever pick up a hitchhiker? I gotta say, in these days, no.
Depends on how hot she is.
It's it's funny. Down about an hour drive south from where I live is a state prison. I mean, we're talking like the maximum security prison.
Mm-hmm.
And down as you drive, like we got death row down there and everything.
Wow.
As you drive past, they have signs that say, "Do not pick up hitchhikers. They may be escaped felons."
Yeah.
And I've that's always stuck in my mind. That one.
That's scary. Holy crap.
That's why, John. That's why I carry my Glock everywhere I go.
See, if I was a hitchhiker on the road right there, I would stand right under that sign and stick my thumb out trying to get a ride.
But I have to remind people, picking up hitchhikers, not like you see on Pornhub. It's a lot probably scarier,
Yeah. You never know. You never know.
Yep. It depends about like I said, it depends on really on how hot she is. Yeah. And if she tries to get crazy with me, you got in the wrong car, lady. I'm crazier than you.
So, Derek, do you have any future plans for the show? Like, do you have maybe a next step or anything big planned?
Well, I've got it down into phases. Phase 1 is to get 1,000 followers on the show. Phase 2 is Phase 2 is to say 1,000 listeners.
Okay.
And then phase 3 is to get the verified check mark. And then after that, it just goes on to like just producing quality shows that people, want to invest an hour of their life to listen to every day.
Awesome.
Yeah. I appreciate all
the thing is, it can be done. That's the beautiful thing about it. Like I see podcasts who don't even have the production quality that I put into mine, and they have a great niche of the community. Mm-hmm. They have a loyal following, and my show is only 5 months old,
right?
And I'm already up in decent show listens per episode, and that obviously I'm like 5 of them is like my intermediate family and friends, but for the most part, like it's yeah, I mean, like I feel like I've got a decent following. I get a lot of feedback in forms of private messages on Twitter or
Mhm.
emails, reviews, and stuff like that. And I feel like I'm doing something right.
Mhm.
I haven't shit the bed yet, and people are like, "Ooh, dude, no." But yeah, I
Sometimes you
feel
shit the bed. It happens.
like I said, I've been courting some. My first thing to do was basically start out small. Start with what you know, people you know.
Right.
I knew a famous author. I knew people who'd been on Jeopardy. I knew people who have made documentaries.
Mm.
So I start small, and then you work big with right outside your comfort zone. Now I've been working with PR firms to bring me actual big name guests.
Okay.
I've got a few names in the works right now who are actual people in the world know these people.
Nice.
It's just basically, like I said, is I'm just trying to get my ducks in order so that I don't come across sound like a jabbering idiot when you have like these actors or actresses or singers come on my show.
Right.
So that's my plan, is just get myself finally comfortable where I can control the conversation, make it fluid, make it fun. I don't take cheap shots on my show. I don't go into hot takes. I don't do
Right.
like looking for controversy or anything like that. I just want it to be a fun experience
Yeah.
to where people are like, you know what, that Derek Duvall is a good guy. I wouldn't mind coming on his show again.
Right.
That's what I try to do.
I've met celebrities. I've been very fortunate. I've met a lot of celebrities over the years, and I'm talking like real celebrities, like people who are like win Oscars and shit.
Wow.
And the first couple of times you meet them, you're like, oh wow, you have this not just like, oh wow, this is really happening. And after a while, you start realizing, hey, they make more money than me, or they go to the bathroom the same way I do. You
Yeah.
have to dumb it down a little bit. Take the aura away from it. You know, like I met Lindsey Buckingham a couple of times from Fleetwood Mac. He's a really nice guy. That I've had conversations with him. He's a super cool dude.
It's a great guitarist.
At the end of the day, always one of the best in the world. But at the end of the day, I have to remind myself, hey, he pays taxes like me. He
Right.
takes a giant shit like me.
Yeah.
Stuff like
Exactly.
that. And exactly. And you have to remember that yes, these people are well known, but at the same time, they're still human beings. They bleed, they cry, they have emotions. Like the only time I've ever been like completely dumb starstruck in my entire life, I met Spielberg.
Oh, wow.
I met Spielberg, and my favorite movie in the entire world is Jaws. Jaws is about a shark.
Where is it, John?
Jaws
I
is
don't
about a
see the
shark
game.
that, yeah. Jaws is a shark that terrorizes a small town. Just in case you haven't seen it.
Yep.
That game.
We got the board
I
game.
see it at Target all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it at Target all the time. Yeah, I talked to him for like about a minute, and that's all I got with him. Like this, I shook his hand. He's a lot shorter in person than I remember. But the thing about this is like you were like, oh my god, like this guy has like crafted a good 50% of your childhood.
Yeah.
And that you have to get over that mystique around him. But he was a very nice man. Didn't ask for an autograph, didn't do pictures, because I just, sometimes you just don't do that.
Yeah.
And I just flat told him, so like Jaws had a huge impact on me growing up. It's my favorite film. And he was just such a nice, warm, generous man. I mean, he's heard it a billion fucking times.
Right.
Like,
Probably.
you're the greatest film director of all time, and you changed my life and all this. He's heard it a million times, but he was so gracious, and he was like, "Well, thank you very much." And
Yeah, like
moved on
I
to his
love
day.
I love like Vince McMahon and all the wrestlers, because they do so much
Mm.
humanitarian work. They do, all the stuff with the Make-A-Wish, and they do all this, this generous work. And it's just like I've sent messages to The Rock and John Cena, and to me and John have been harassing Kevin Conroy for like a year.
Yeah.
But it's
It's
just
funny you say that. I never watch wrestling, but something really random happened the other day. I go to bed just like everybody else. I wake up in the morning, I check my phone, and it was like a week ago. I got a follow from a professional wrestler, and I didn't follow him. I didn't court him. I don't know much about wrestling. I know like who Hulk Hogan is and The Rock is, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, those are household names.
Yeah.
This guy followed me, and I had to look it up, and it's Sergeant Slaughter.
Yes, he follows
The
us too.
Sarge.
From wrestling.
the Sarge,
Follows you
baby.
too?
Yeah, he follows
I
follows
was
us
sitting there
too.
like, oh wow, cool, a professional wrestler follows me, and then I looked at his page, and he follows like 41,000 people. I'm like, oh, that's not so special.
Right.
So
Yo, if I ever met the Sarge, I'd be like, Cobra Clutch me, please.
Yeah, but you see, Sergeant Slaughter is a classic. He's a legend. So I mean,
yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah,
Sarge,
I was like, this. I mean, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I was like, oh wow, a professional wrestler follows me, and then I looked, I was like, oh well, he follows half the fucking planet anyway.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
yeah, I bought 2 bottles, one of each of the Rock's tequila, the Terramana, and I took pictures of it and I sent it to the Rock, and you know what I mean? Because the Rock is great. He takes all this stuff that people send him and he reposts it in like multiple videos of people sending him pictures of the Terramana and thanking him. You know, his liquor sales, his spirit sales have skyrocketed.
I couldn't believe that. I mean, like I said, I never watched wrestling. It's just not my cup of tea. However, I do know who he is. I do know that he was a wrestler. But I couldn't believe that he was People Magazine's most like beautiful man alive or some shit like that a couple years ago. That threw me for a loop.
He's a beautiful soul. Listen, John over there, when John was like 20 years old, he dropped the meanest people's elbow on anybody.
I think with getting even the small name celebrities, you know, it's good to just reach out. You never know, you know?
Yeah. Well, my thing about it is like I talked to a couple of people who actually, you know, like they've had actually decent, like really decent guests. So people like, really, you got that person?
Yeah.
Like I have a friend of mine got Eric Roberts.
Oh, nice.
You know, and I was like,
oh shit,
and I
baby.
listened to it, and Eric Roberts was super chill, and he was friendly, and what have you.
Yeah.
So like people like that, like we're not talking like, you know, we're not getting George Clooney, we're not getting
Right.
Jennifer Aniston, you know, like that. We're talking like not A, but not B either. Like we're talking like people who are very well known.
Yeah.
Like I knew a guy who got Richard Gere, and I'm like, that's really fucking cool.
Hey, Pretty Woman.
But you know, it's
Is that the movie with the whore?
yeah,
That's the movie with the whore. Yeah.
that's the one with the whore.
Yeah.
But no, it was but I was like, you know, that's what the people say, like, you need to get this app, write this, get their agent numbers,
Yeah.
reach out to their agents. I mean, obviously, you can send some celebrities a message and they'll actually respond like, hey, yes, or, you know, no thanks, or like that. But if you reach out to their agents, you get a little more leeway. Like you explain what you want to do, you explain the format of your show.
Yeah.
You give them your word. Like you're not going to take cheap shots. You know, like, hey, is it true that you know used to do coke off some you know hooker's ass back in the 80s? You know, or
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
You won't do that.
Don't do drugs.
Exactly.
Don't
And
do
they're
drugs.
like, okay, no problem. And then you have to, with some of them, you have to actually like, you know, you edit your show and you have to submit it to them for approval
Right.
before you can put it out into the world.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough. I
See,
can
like me,
live with
I don't do cheap shots. I want to talk to them, you know, about certain things, but like I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about religion.
Yeah.
These are just things I don't talk about.
See, that's the thing too, is also like I know some politicians here in Oklahoma, like actual legit politicians. And I have a friend of mine who knows the governor, who is a fucking idiot. But not the governor, not my friend. And you know, things like that. Like I have access to these people if I was to call in favors, you know. But I'm like, I don't really want politicians on my show because God knows what they say, and I don't want that hanging over my show's head.
You legit got us a goddamn secret agent guest on our show.
You're welcome.
I'm convinced. He's British Special Forces or something. Goddamn
Spetsnaz.
sleeper agent.
Yeah.
Spetsnaz is Russian, dude.
Oh, sorry.
Don't insult him like that.
That was one of the reasons why. That was one of the reasons why, you know, a couple months ago, like I took leave, is because, you know, I wanted to do a talk show. I wanted to have guests on.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it's like I love my friend says I collect people. Like it's a hobby. Like I collect people who are extraordinary, have great stories to tell. Like I'm trying to get a guy on my show. He's a doctor out of the University of Bristol in Great Britain. And there's a possibility he has found the cure to HIV.
Oh wow.
And I want him to come on my show. I want him to talk about his medicine and his therapy product that he's trying right now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because it is actually he is the front runner to actually eradicate AIDS by 2025.
If that was me, I have such a low ego. Like ego's not my thing. I'm prideful. I am. I'm prideful. I won't bend the knee to anybody, but I have no ego. You know what I mean? If someone insults me, I just look at them. I go, okay. You know? But it's like if I was the type of person that had like the cure for AIDS, like that, I wouldn't let any pharmaceutical company fuck with me. I would release that to the goddamn world for free.
It's a little bit bigger
for
than
free.
That.
I don't want to make money.
But a lot of big corporations stand to lose a lot of money, I guess, if that comes out.
No, this is for the betterment of humanity. I would want people to live a good life.
You see, you say this. Now, here's the thing. Like, I know a lot about the history of AIDS. I've been studying it for years. It's fascinating to me. One of the things is there's one pharmaceutical company out there they're one of the richest pharmaceutical companies in the world. And if this gentleman, like I said, he has pretty much, they're in human trials right now. And it's a very, very unique method. They've been trying it for years, and he has finally cracked the code. The only thing is, there's a company out there called Gilead Sciences. I don't know if you guys have heard their name. They created 2 drugs. One of them is called PrEP, which is you take PrEP before you have sex, and it will keep you. It's 99.9% positive you will not get HIV in any way, shape, or form. Let's say you have sex with an HIV positive person, you will not get HIV.
Yeah.
The second is they have created a viral killer drug. Basically, if you are HIV positive, you take this drug every day, it's 1 pill, and you become what they call UNU, which is undetectable and basically you can uncontractable, which basically is your viral load count becomes 0. But you cannot, even though you're HIV positive, if you were to take a blood test, it will not show in your blood test.
Right.
The viral load in your system is so low that you will never. You basically you're technically HIV positive, but you're not HIV positive.
Right, but you have to continue to take this medicine every day, though, right?
Right. And they're the ones that stand to lose the most because they make billions of dollars with these 2 drugs.
Yeah.
You give the cure to HIV out there, and that's game over for them. And they're not going to let that happen. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Which to me, I think is bullshit.
It's the whole reason why we're not driving wholly electric cars and we didn't get rid of oil.
Right.
You know?
And the thing about it is I don't care who you voted for in politics and what have you, but Trump is the one who actually got Gilead to make a generic version of it. And that's like, for me, it was like, wow, that's incredible. Because they didn't have a generic drug for PrEP. It was just PrEP, and you had to pay without insurance, like almost $2,000 for it.
Wow.
And that's now they've made generic, it's a little more affordable.
Wow.
But yeah, I like I said, it's that's it. This doctor, he's phenomenal. He's from Wales, which means the Welsh will be the ones to cure AIDS, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, I'm trying to get him on the show, and it's been a little bit of back and forth, and it hasn't been very easy to get in contact with him. But my thing also is like this, and this is not pride. This is not like ego. Is basically, if this guy actually, if it happens and AIDS is cured, this fucker's going to win the Nobel Prize.
Oh, absolutely.
Good. He deserves it.
Yeah, exactly. And I guarantee it's like, for me, it's like, holy shit, I'm going to have a Nobel Prize winner on my show.
Yeah.
You know? That's one of the things like I'm kind of excited about, you know?
That's awesome.
I feel like I just got off the tangent about the history of HIV. I do apologize about that.
No, it's not.
You know what? I have passionate feelings about certain things. Like I was saying before, I wouldn't charge a goddamn dime. You couldn't bully me or threaten me. No, I want to help people.
No, they'll just kill you.
Well, it's like the same thing. Well, it's like they actually have right now in human trials the cure for lymphoma.
Right.
And that's another thing. My thing is this. Like I said, I'm a studier of history. I love history. And one of the things is I say every generation from the 40s on to today has had one breakthrough. Every generation, every decade has had one major breakthrough. Yeah. In the 40s, it was the invention of the atomic bomb. In the 50s, it was the invention of the television. In the 60s, it was landing a man on the moon. 70s, it was the early computer. 80s, it was the space shuttle. The 90s, it was the internet. The 2000s, it was the iPhone. And now in this generation, I guarantee it's going to be the eradication of a major disease.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope so.
It'll be AIDS, cancer, Alzheimer's, or Parkinson's. It's going to be one of those 4.
Like this guy right here, I make every year, me and my dad, we make a donation to St. Jude's. Mm-hmm. I always told myself, if I ever win the lottery or I win big, I'm donating $1 million right off the bat to St. Jude's, because that's that's for kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kids of the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We want to leave something here good for them.
Yeah. Whitney Houston said that best. I agree.
Oh, man. All right, guys. Well, you heard the music. Thank you very much, Derek, for coming on the show. We had a blast. If anybody doesn't know, Derek runs a show called The Derek Duvall Show. It's available on all podcasting platforms. You can also head on over to the DerekDuvallShow.com, the official website. And you can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Derek Duvall Show. So thank you very much, Derek, for coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
All I know is I need Derek's email, because every day I'm going to send him a fucking guess of what he does for work. It's good. Every day until I get it right.
You'll never know.
Yeah. Curiosity's peaked.
All right, guys. If you want to listen to more of The Basement Surge, head on over to our official website, thebasementsurge.com. You can listen to all of our episodes, watch all our videos, and just read our blog if you want. Just send us an email. We like emails.
I do like emails.
Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Right, Frank?
That's what I was going to say. You always do the ending promo. I never get to say nothing. I just sit here like this.
Hit that subscribe button and go ahead, Frank. You say
Ring
it.
that motherfucking bell.
That's right.
You're like the Garth to Wayne. I'm with him. It's always with Garth.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week.
Let's go. Turn up the volume. And now, from Brooklyn, New York, this is the Basement Surge with John and Frank.